All right, so we have our next declutter, and we're going to be doing concealers and powders. So I'm going to keep with my same theme that I did with my last video, where I'm going to show you the concealers and powders that I'm keeping, and then I actually am going to be sharing with you another video where I go into detail about the powders and concealers that I'm decluttering. I'm going to have that posted on my Patreon. So if you're interested in my Patreon and signing up for that, it's a monthly subscription where it's only $5 a month, and you get additional videos from me. I actually have a video up now where I explain the foundations that I have decluttered, and I go through each one of those. So if you're interested in seeing those types of videos, then I'd love for you to join my Patreon, my little family over there. You don't have to, but that's where you'll find that additional content. So let's get into the concealers and the powders that I'm going to keep. So this is what I am decluttering. I will say that Say sent over an extra one of these powders, and I already had one. So I'm actually going to give this one to a charity along with some other things. So this is what we're decluttering, and this is what I'm keeping. Okay, so this is the Gucci face powder, and this powder is really beautiful, but honestly, as I'm looking at it, this looks kind of dirty, and I'm actually going to declutter this one because I need to get a new one of these. I didn't realize how dirty it looked. So declutter pile, you guys kind of got a freebie of what I'm decluttering. But on to something I knew I'm keeping. Okay, this is the Midnight Rose Petal Luxury Powder. This is such a beautiful, very fine pink powder. I love this one because, as you can see, the pink is not too deep, so it really does help to brighten the under eye. It's very smooth, very perfecting on the skin, so I had to keep this one. And then I just actually bought the Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Snatch powder in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. I got this back in September. I actually have not talked about it on my channel, but as you can see, I've used it and I like it so far. I am still forming my thoughts, if I'm being honest, but I have used it and I do like it. So I'm going to keep it, just to, you know, keep using it and seeing like really how I like it, where I would kind of rank it in my powders. I forgot to share this with you all in my foundations video, but this is a Chanel powder foundation, which I am keeping. So I figured it's a powder, it can kind of go here. But I have the shade B70. This is a really beautiful fuller coverage matte powder, and it's very perfecting on the skin as well. When you wear this, it does look like you have on foundation. So I do like this one, definitely keeping it. So it's gonna go back in my drawer where I missed it last time. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush, what was the name? Brightening powder. So I really loved these brightening powders. I have both of the, well, I have shades Fair Medium and Medium Tan. I use Fair Medium all the time to set my T-zone. So I am keeping this one because for sure, definitely love it. This to me is more so of a finishing powder versus a setting powder. So I'll go in with my regular setting powder, and then I'll go in with this to finish and brighten. And I love using it for that reason. Then we have the Sephora Collection Micro Smooth Powder. You guys, this is such a beautiful powder. So I have the shade 1035. You can use this to set your foundation, like your liquid foundation. You can actually use this as like a lighter coverage foundation, almost like a powder foundation tint. It's very smoothing on the skin, blurring of pores, like it's beautiful. I have purchased this 2 or 3 times, highly recommend it. Then we have the Laura Mercier. This is the Translucent Loose Setting Powder, the Ultra Blur one. So I have the shade Translucent Honey. I'm so sorry, we're getting blurry. There we go. Definitely keeping this. I prefer this formula so much more than the traditional Laura Mercier powder. That one just was a little too dry for my skin, especially in my under eye area, where my skin there is more dry versus like other parts of my face. But this powder is so perfecting. It's got all the same benefits of the Laura Mercier original powder, but it's not as drying. You have like a little bit of life to the skin, but there's no like glow particles or anything. It's a beautiful powder. Definitely recommend this one for sure. And it sets the makeup too. So it's like a twofer in terms of like blurring, setting your makeup and all of that stuff. This is the Say Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder, and I kept the shade Translucent Medium. I had a couple of shades. Yo, this is a glow powder that it's like you can kind of see the shimmer particles if you look closely at it, but if you take like a big fluffy brush and then just go in and use this as like a finishing powder, honey, child, excuse the ash on my hands, it is stunning. I love this powder. So I was trying to decide between this powder and another one, and I was just like, this one is too beautiful. So keeping that, and I know y'all can't see it down here, but I'm keeping everything here. Obviously, I'm keeping. This is a setting powder by Il Makiage, and like I mentioned in my foundation video, I do some occasional ad work for Il Makiage, so I'm keeping it for that reason. If they, should ask for me to do some more ad work with this powder, it's a pretty standard powder. It's a translucent loose powder. It's not heavy on the face or anything like that, so it's a fairly good powder. Danessa Myricks, I have the Evolution powder in shade 01 and then the pink powder. If you know me, we're not even going to go and discuss this. Absolute favorite powder of all time. I use this every time I set my makeup. Every time. Every time. I actually have this in shade 02 and I have that shade in my makeup kit. And then the pink powder, I really enjoy the pink powder as well, although this does look very, how does it make me look? When I use the pink powder, especially when I did my review where I compared the one size pink powder to the Evolution powder, a lot of you all, and I had to agree with you, a lot of you all said that the one size pink powder looked perfect for like everyday wear, and then the Evolution powder was more so like for ultra glam, like perfecting, ultra smoothing types of looks, and I had to agree with you all. So the Evolution pink powder I use if I want like more of like a perfected glam, night on the town type of look. The one size powder, I will use it for the same. This is like stunning. But if I want more of like a natural glam type of look, I'll go for the one size. I also love that with either one of these, I can set my face with it and like makeup is locked and loaded however long I need it to be. So these are both beautiful pink powders. Had to keep them both. Then we have the LYS Beauty. This is the Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder in the shade Ambition Medium Tan. And this is really beautiful. It's a soft setting powder for the face. And I use this shade for my T-zone. It's really great, very affordable at Sephora. And holds concealer, sets everything in place. So a really good one. Then we have, y'all, this is such an oldie but a goodie, the Lancome Absolute Powder. So this is a radiant smoothing powder. Definitely I use this to like as a finishing powder. And remember when this was like all the rage back in what, 2016, 17? Like everybody loved this powder. I couldn't part with it. I'm not ready to part with it. I've had this for a good little while, but I'm not ready. So we're keeping it. This is the, this is the Absolute powder. And then we have the Fenty Beauty. This is the Invisimatte powder. I actually just purchased this powder not too long ago. And I like it. I kind of should have left it at the store, to be honest, because I am not a touch-up person. Like, I don't carry powder in my purse and touch-up. But I would say if you are a person who likes to touch up their makeup, it is actually really nice. So I'm going to keep it because I'm going to use it and I haven't had it that long. But in theory, there's a reason why I did not buy this, when it first came out. Okay, the two Dior Backstage powders, I have it in 3N and 4N. And you guys, I can't part with it yet. I actually, you want to hear something funny? Was it last year or maybe December of 2021? I was going to declutter this one because I had only this one. And then I was watching a couple of other people's declutters. And like everybody was, I was watching yearly favorites and people were just raving and raving and raving about this powder. And I was like, I don't really get the hype around it. Like, it didn't really do much for me. And so Gabe Loves Beauty, he was like, Chelsea, you have to use it with a sponge, not like a brush or anything. I used this with a sponge, took it right out the declutter pile. It has been here, locked and loaded, and then I loved it so much, I got shade 4N. So I'm keeping both because 4N I can use all over my face. 3N I use for my T-zone. The, like, luminescence that you get from this powder, but it has no, like, you know, major shimmer particles. It's just a beautiful powder. I was like, okay, I'm gonna declutter one and keep the other. I couldn't, so we're just keeping. So that's it for powders. Yay, that was fast. So now let's go on to concealer. So first we have the Glossier Stretch Concealer. I have the shade Medium Tan 3, and this is actually a really nice concealer, perfect for like everyday wear. Has like a nice little radiance to it, and I like it, so I'm gonna keep it because I also recently got this one, so I don't want to declutter it just yet. Because I do like it. Then we have the LYS Beauty Triple Fix Concealer. This was like hands down like holy grail in 2021. Yes, I want to say 2021. I love the shade TN3, and this is a really beautiful full coverage concealer, but it doesn't have to be full coverage. Like, this is really beautiful, so still loving that. Then we have the Makeup Forever HD Skin Concealer. I have the shade 3.4N. This is really beautiful. Like, I would say nice medium coverage, feels like nothing on the face, very perfecting. It says that it's an anti-crease and like smoothing and blurring type of concealer, and I would have to agree with those claims. Like, it doesn't overly crease on my under eye area. It's really beautiful. So I think if you enjoy the HD foundation, you would also enjoy their concealer. Haas Labs, absolute favorite, one of my favorite concealers of the year. We have shade 31 Medium Neutral, and this is stunning. Like, nice and medium full coverage. Looks very nice on the under eye area, not too drying at all, but not like overly dewy. Lasts all day. Like, it's a really great concealer. And then we have the Tarte Shape Tape Radiant Concealer. So I felt kind of like, well, I don't want to say bad, but I purchased this off of QVC when I found out that they were releasing this, because the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer was too, it was too matte for me. So then they came out with the creamy concealer, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and I loved it. I ended up decluttering it though. So then I was like, ooh, the Radiant one, I saw it in action. I was like, oh, I want to get this. And then like shortly after I got it, I didn't even have time to like review it and put a video up, because then Tarte had a huge scandal, and I was just like, well, great, let me not. But I thought about decluttering it, and then I was just like, but I actually like it. So I may not like use this on social media per se, but I actually really do like it, and I think it is a really great concealer. I wish Tarte would get themselves together and stop doing stuff they don't need to be doing. But anywho, this is the Givenchy Prisme Libre Concealer, shade N312. Oh my gosh, I don't even need to be talking about this. Like, it's so beautiful. I could not put this concealer down for so long after I first got it. I still enjoy it. It's just really beautiful. Medium to full coverage if you want it to be. Looks so flawless on the skin, like so effortless on the skin. It's beautiful. And honestly, I really enjoy this packaging too. It's great. Then we have another amazing concealer, the Sephora Best Skin Ever Concealer. Like, if you enjoy the Best Skin Ever foundation, the concealer, in my opinion, is probably like a little bit better. It's stunning. Full coverage. So, full coverage, but it doesn't have to be full coverage. It's multi-use, so you can use this as concealer, foundation, bronzer, contour, just depending on the shade that you get. I wear the shade 33N, and this is amazing. Highly recommend it. We've actually got two kind of like concealer correctors. So this is the Bobbi Brown corrector stick, and this is the shade Dark Peach and Peach. So I use shade Dark Peach to color correct, like around my chin, and then Peach I can use under my eyes to kind of brighten that area. This formula is so smooth and blendable. Like, you can blend it very easily with your hands, you know, whatever tool that you want to use. It's so easy to use too. So if you're someone who's not used to color correcting, but you want to color correct, but it's a little intimidating, I would go with these, because the pigmentation is definitely there enough to color correct and even out your skin, but they're not so overly pigmented that you might, you know, could add too much and now your skin is looking orange because, you know, you put too much on. These are amazing. Amazing. Definitely keeping them. And then this is the Bobbi Brown what's the formal name? Oh, this is small. Here we go. There we go. Skin full cover concealer. The shade that I have is natural tan, and this is full coverage. But look at the doe foot. Like, okay, let me make sure you can see it. Look at that shape of the doe foot. So like you get a really nice application and like spread of the concealer. And like this joker now, don't add too much of this because you don't need a lot, because it's going to cover everything. Like this concealer will blink out my freckles to where I look like I don't have any freckles. So like the coverage is there, you don't need a lot, and it's beautiful on the skin. Then I have two YSL All Hours concealers. I purchased one. The one that I purchased is MN1, and then the brand sent me this one, which is MN7. So MN1 is the one that I wear for my T-zone. I would use MN7 more so like maybe to, if like I had like a blemish on the skin that, like a blemish on my face that I want to use, you know, a concealer that more closely matches my skin tone, I would use MN7. But I have really been enjoying this formula. I really like it. It's a nice, like, soft, natural finish to the skin. Not overly matte, not overly dewy. I would say the coverage is about a solid medium. Yeah, solid medium coverage. And very comfortable to wear. Lasts all day. Like, I have no negative things to say about it. I have been enjoying it. So we got that. Then we have the Urban Decay Quickie Concealer. And the shade that I have is 50NN. It's so funny because when I got this concealer, not too long after I got it, I almost decluttered it because I was just like, I don't really get the hype. I don't really know. And then I was like, let me give it another try. And I did. And I actually really enjoy it. I think this is an amazing everyday type of concealer. Whether you want to use this just to spot conceal, if you want to actually use this as your base, or you want to use it like, you know, to highlight your T-zone and things like that. Like a really beautiful, amazing concealer that I think you should check out. Then we have the Rare Beauty Brightening Brightener, because it's not really a concealer. It gives like a little bit of coverage, but not a lot. This is the shade Medium. I love this and adore this, especially for those days where I want to wear like hardly any makeup, but I just kind of want to brighten my under eyes and make them look a little bit more alive. This is beautiful for that. And I blend this in with my finger because the formula is so thin. I feel like when I have used a brush, the brush picks up more of the product than what is deposited on my face. And then because the applicator is this metal end, and as you can see, you don't get a lot that comes out on the applicator. So I like blending this in with my finger so that I can get, you know, a little, you know, as much of the coverage as I can. Okay, are you surprised I'm keeping this Gucci concealer? Because if you've seen me talk about this Gucci concealer, I have been very iffy. Like, I don't really know. I don't get the hype around it. I have this shade, hold on y'all, because this is very small, 34N. And I got some really great advice from one of you, so thank you so much. You know exactly who you are. So the person, when I was talking about it, my follower was like, actually, in this case, more is more. So you know how most people are like, less is more, you know, don't use a lot. They were like, actually use more, like slather it on. And when I did that, I said, oh my God, you're right. Because when I was wearing it and when I had applied it, I was like, the formula is thin, okay? It's a thin formula. So I kind of felt like I really wasn't getting coverage. And then I was like, it was almost like so thin that I felt like it was drying. And not that I want to have like the most coverage, or like I didn't want the formula to be like thick, but I just, you know, I wasn't thinking that I needed to add more of the concealer. So when I do apply this, I'm pretty generous with what I apply compared to how I normally apply concealer, and I actually have been enjoying it. So I was like, yeah, I will keep you. And I love the packaging, so I'm glad we've made it work. Thank you so much for giving me that tip. Okay, so we have two concealers by Il Makiage. This is the I'm Flawless Multi-Use Perfecting Concealer. I have two shades. So the shade 12.5 I can use all over the face. And then the shade here, 9, I use for my T-zone. Keeping these because, like I told y'all before, I do ad work for them, but in all honesty, y'all, this concealer is bomb. Like, I actually use this concealer all over my face. It was a day where I was actually creating content for them, and then I got on my stories to talk, and then I made a reels. I got so many compliments on my skin, like, what are you wearing on your skin? What is that foundation? And it was their concealer. In my opinion, their concealer is their best product that they make, hands down. I've tried pretty much all of their products over the past, I've been working with Il Makiage since 2020. So I've tried pretty much all of their products, hands down, the best product that they make, hands down. So like, this concealer is actually really good. Like, even if I knew I wasn't going to be doing any more ad work for them, I would be keeping this. So highly recommend it. We have the Pat McGrath concealer. I have the shade M16. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. In all honesty, I want to declutter this one. I think they changed the formula, because this used to be a holy grail concealer, and I decluttered it last year because I had that one concealer since it launched. So what, 2019? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna declutter it because this one is old and I'm gonna get a new one. Well, I got this one in 2023, and it did not wear the way that I remembered it wearing. I didn't like it as much. But I just was like, okay, maybe it was just a bad day. I don't know, because I think I've only worn it once, maybe twice since I repurchased it. But I think what I want to do is like purchase one more just to see, is it actually the formula that's changed, or maybe I just kind of got a funky one. Because like this concealer, I like, especially when the concealer came out, I did a wear test between the concealer and the foundation. I liked the way my face looked with the concealer more than the foundation. And y'all have heard me rave about how much I love the foundation. That was like, I liked it so much, I went out and bought another shade so I could have one all over the face and then one, you know, for my T-zone. So I don't know. I really hope it's just, this is more so of a dud, but I'm kind of afraid it's not, because I talked to one of you all about it and they were like, I feel the same way. I don't like this new formula. And I'm just like, why do y'all do that? But I'm gonna keep it, you know, I don't know, and I will report back if I have, you know, changed thoughts. This is the Lip Bar Quick Conceal Concealer, and the shade that I have is Caramel, which is the same shade that I wear in their Skin Tint. I actually have not tried this yet. I don't think I've worn this yet. No, I have not worn this yet. So I want to give it a try and see how it wears. Their Skin Tint is amazing, like so amazing. So want to give this a try. That's why I'm keeping it. And then last but definitely not least, we have Tommy Ford's Shade and Illuminate Concealer. Woo, woo, woo. Definitely keeping this. This is in the shade 4W0 Hazel. Yo, this concealer is just, she's beautiful. She's not cheap though, but she's beautiful. And I love like how creamy the formula is. Stunning. It looks like, look at this. Look at the family. Look at the family. Y'all, Riley knocked this over, and that's why there's a chip there. And I was so sad because that chip probably cost $25. But beautiful, beautiful combination of products. This is expensive, but I would recommend it. So guys, these are the concealers and powders that I'm keeping, and I'm really happy with what I'm keeping. Y'all look at that. Can you guess who did that? That's foundation. So I gotta clean that up. But very happy with what we decluttered. I didn't even count like what I had and what I decluttered, but I'll put it in the thumbnail. I'll do the counting so you can see. But yes, so stay tuned for my next declutter. We still have blushes and bronzers and highlighters and eyeshadow palettes. Oh my goodness, we've got a lot. We've got lipsticks and lip liners, all the things. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you want to see my video explaining why these are being decluttered, sign up to my Patreon, $5 a month. And you know, we're gonna get great content over there too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you've made it to this point in the video and you haven't yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad because we love to have you. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you, yes you, in my very next video. Bye guys.